The Lads Club. Got some wonderful guests with me today, I'm proud to say. But before we start the show and get on with the motley, I'd like to thank a few people and mention a few forthcoming events. I'll start with an apology, actually. A bit rare from me, this. Michelle Cantliff, the Smoky Top poet who died, I inadvertently called her Michelle's. I can't even remember what I called her. I must have been overcome with emotion. That's my excuse. So Michelle, sorry about that. I'd like to thank a few people who've helped out this week and over the weekend. I met a lady yesterday in Eccles, Pamela Gantley, who told me her father and her grandfather were strong trade unionists. They both passed away, and she'd kept a wooden chest of the father's belongings. I meant to bring it today to show Duncan, but we'll talk about that shortly. Thanks for that anyway, Pamela. Rachel Flynn, I'd like to thank you for the Easter presents. You must have forgot to bring it again. Dave Hill, Leaf Bean Pod, regular. Hope the hip is getting better and you're hip enough. Lynn Cullen and Griffiths, we always mention you because you always do look after us. I'd like to mention Susan Ganaway, the NHS hero. Lovely woman, Sue. She does watches. A couple of events coming up. This Saturday at Parfold Park, there's an event called Pirates Love Underpants. You've got to go to that, haven't you? You really have. They're having 4 one-hour sessions starting at 10:30 till 3 o'clock. It's storytelling and activities, so interactive with pirates, and I'm not doing the R voice. And finally, and probably most importantly, this Friday coming, my talk at the Lads Club. It's called Regent Road Stories, where you can learn all about Prince Peter Lobengula. You can see Tony Wilson crying outside his dad's shop. Arsenic Beer in Salford, where several hundred people died, mainly women, funnily enough. Stronger constitution or bigger drinkers, you decide. There's lots to talk about, and if you come, it's free. I'd like to stress it's a free event. Everything's free with me, it's honestly. And there's a bar on, that's not free. So if you want, come down, get me a Guinness, and enjoy the show. 7 Mile 8. Mainly the tickets have been distributed by Eventbrite. I think they've all gone, but don't worry, or cheer. Just turn up on the day, in the evening actually, and we'll find room for you. Should be a good night. That's it really. And now a roll on the drums, a bark on the drums. Don't look worried. I'll introduce my first guest, Duncan McCormack, the main man, if not the only one, at Salford Local History Library.
I do have Peter as well, Peter Turner. He works in the library with me as well. Shout out to Peter.
Give him a shout out.
Pete.
Does he work full time?
No, part-time in there with me. He's part-time in the museum as well. So he has to go across the borders there. Right.
So how long have you been doing this job?
Oh, almost 20 years. 19 years it'll be this year. 19 years in November.
Because I remember the days of Tony Franklin, John Shirt, and the 2 ladies, whose name I've forgotten.
Trish and Sandra.
Trish and Sandra.
Yeah.
Do you remember me coming in all those years ago?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he used to come in all the time.
The security alarm going
on. Yeah, probably.
Right, let's talk about the local history library, what it serves, purposes, and what people can find there. Is it a rough figure, 70,000 photos?
Yes, yeah. Rough figure, about 70,000 photos we've got in the Salford area, made up of 4 different collections we've got, covering Eccles, let's call it the old township of Salford, but also like modern ones after 74 as well, that all go in there just so people know where they are location-wise. And then Eccles and Swinton and Pendlebury, Warden and Worsley.
Cadishead, no?
We have a little bit. They have their own one there still at the local library, but we do have some. We kind of cover Earlham and Cadishead in the Eccles collection because they would have collected some of them there.
I take it the photographs are broken down into categories like, say, schools, factories, leisure.
Yeah. So they're all under subject numbers, same way as books. They're all under Dewey Decimal numbers. So people who come into the library will have me shout numbers at them when they say like, "Oh, where are primary schools?" And it's like, 372 point, whatever, and you kind of, they think that you remember all those numbers, and it's like, no, the usual ones crop up generally again and again. But it's things like that where you've got them under subject numbers in the same way as books. So the idea, if you find a book that's on a subject, the ones next to it would all be the same kind of subject for you. So
a lot of the photos are online now, aren't they? Is it? What's it called? Online digital?
Yeah, Digital Salford we did. It was a project we started 10 years ago now. And it's all done by volunteers. All the photos are scanned by volunteers. And it's not the scanning, it's all the other process that goes involved with it. Typing up all that data so that other people can find them when they're looking for them. They all get uploaded to our website, which is it's a new web address these days. It's photos.salfordmuseum.com.
Say that again, photos?
Photos.salfordmuseum.com.
Because I'd like to say I've had difficulty accessing the site the last year.
Yeah, we get all kinds of technical issues with it, and it goes up and down quite often. But the easiest way to be sure on seeing the full collection is to come into the library anyway. There's about 30,000 of them we've got scanned, and like I said earlier, there's about 70,000. So we're about halfway through. So we might have it finished by the volunteers, should I say? God bless them. Might have it finished by the time I retire.
You're not doing it. I'd like to, you can help stress the fact that people say to me, it's Salford Local History Lab, there's nothing about Eccles or Swinton. And there quite obviously isn't there? Photographs, newspapers.
The way
the newspapers, you've got the journals, haven't you, the advertisers?
Yeah.
Are they all on microfilm or fiche?
They're all on microfilm, yeah. Same kind of thing. Fiche is the flat one, films the rolls, so is on the roll of films that we've got them on.
What years are they from then?
We say from 1859, I think it is, the Salford newspapers, so things like the Salford Weekly News, Eccles and Patricroft Journal about 1874, Swinton and Pendle, I think their journal goes back to 1874, but we only have from when it was a borough. I think it was the same, just with a different header on the top as the Eccles and Patricroft Journal, all Tillotson.
Sorry, do you have the Manchester Guardian?
No, we don't, but they're all available online. We have a lot indexed on that, and we use the Guardian quite a lot, but we don't hold copies anymore.
Because people contact me and say, well, I'm looking for a story in the Manchester Evening News, I'm going to the local estate. It won't be there though, will it?
No, again, the Manchester newspapers we generally leave to Manchester.
Right. But you do have the census returns, don't you, and registers?
Yeah. So we use Ancestry, Find My Past, both for searching census returns, and a myriad of other family history kind of records that you will get from there, all kinds of collections that you'll get on them. But then used in conjunction with the kind of stuff we've got in the library, ordnance survey maps, directories, electoral rolls, parish registers, things like that we'd have. You can build a better picture.
Has there been an upsurge with like the family tree history thing? I know there was a few television programmes. Who do you think you are? That was a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, generally it always used to be when there was a new series on, we'd have that little bit of more people suddenly come as they get that idea. And again, around Christmas as well, I'll usually get an email on Christmas Day, although I'm not there, just to let you know I'm not actually there on Christmas Day. But there'll be an email there, just usually because people are talking with family and they'll start talking about family history and think, I'll just email the local history library whilst you remember. It's fine. I get it in the new year. It's not like I get it on Christmas Day.
I'm certain I recall one of the Bee Gees using the services there. Was it Robin Gibb?
It was. Robin Gibb came and did his episode of Who Do You Think You Are from there.
There's a lady from Winton, I think, or Earlham. She had a midwife. She may have delivered him or something.
Nurse Cherry, I think her name was.
Cherry?
I may have got that wrong, so I do apologise to you.
So what is the most, people come into the local history library, what is the most requested thing? Are the family tree, school photos, memories?
Yeah, it's the photos. That's the main thing that people will come in. And so with the online one, you can do a search from home, but you kind of need to know what you're looking for. Whereas people will come in and just browse through the filing cabinets, because all 70,000 of them are right there in the library in filing cabinets, and you can just come in and have a look through and generally find things you didn't know you were looking for until you see it. You can't really mimic that on a database yet. True. If we can find out a way, maybe we'll do that in the future, but ultimately browsing through is what people love to do. They'll come in and have a look through. But yeah, probably the most popular is school photos, or maybe Whit Walks. Whit Walks probably a close second there.
I've looked through those many a time. I've poured through those catalogues, through the photographs. I've yet to find a photograph of me. I must have been an ugly kid or something, for the school walks or...
Yeah, that's probably it. I've got rid of all them. Those pictures at Tony.
On police advice.
Yeah.
Do you have I know it's a hard one, a favourite photograph?
No, it's an easy one. No, I definitely have a favourite one. Yeah, there is a photo of, you'll know it because you'll have used it in your book. It's of two street cleaners, street sweepers walking down
Hankinson Street.
Yeah, it's a lovely photo. They're going past a door and one of them looks really small. He's barely past the handle of it, It's a lovely photo. It's all there in one.
Very evocative, isn't it? I think you used that in the Yankee Park book, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, I would have thought you'd have used it in that.
Yeah. I can't think which is my favourite photograph. I like the one of the Bear Street kids, the Dockers strikes.
Yeah.
That says so much, doesn't it? And,
and this is it. And this was why when we did the photo projects, we started out doing about 5,000 of them. And we went out to libraries to ask people, people who live in Eccles, where you live there, what's the important thing that we should scan photos of? Because if you came and asked me, or if we came and asked you, or if you came and asked any other person to pick 5,000 of them, you'd get different things. Everyone's got a personal reason on it. And then we kind of captured those personal memories where it's like, oh no, we need to get this pub because I remember hanging out, waiting for my dad to come out of it when I was younger, things like that.
Of course,
those kind of stories were really important. And then if we didn't have the image, we have a bit of a wish list. We've still got some on there. We rarely get new ones, but we do on occasion we have this list now that we can kind of say, if you've got any pictures of this area, it was important to Tony Flynn, so have we got a picture of this or whatever, or Joe Bloggs or whoever who lives in Eccles or in Swinton or whatever.
Do you still accept donations?
Yeah, we're always looking for new documents, photos, books, anything like that.
The reason I asked, because as I mentioned earlier, Pamela Gantley, she gave me a wooden box of, it's mainly trade union memorabilia, but there's photographs in it, and there's some of I've used them actually on the site to say, do you recognise? And would they be a safe home if I was to bring them in for you, do you think?
I'd have to see it though, Tony. I'll get in trouble off our collections manager at the museum, you see. We only take, as far as the library is concerned, documents, photos, paper things, ephemera, leaflets, stuff like that. That's great. Things like the wooden box that he came in.
No, I'm keeping it.
Excellent.
They keep these special photos.
No, but things like objects and stuff go into the museum collection. We don't really collect them. I don't have any way of
I'm glad you mentioned the objects. The 100 exhibits exhibition. That is fantastic. I think personally it's the best exhibition I've visited. I've seen a lot of exhibitions there, but it's more personal, isn't it? People have been asked to choose the item and...
Yeah, I mean, we've had a number of those kind of exhibitions where it's almost like random stuff from our collection that wouldn't necessarily see the light of day if it wasn't brought together for that particular reason. And this one, you're right, is that a little bit more personal because they've been selected by other people that, for whatever reason, whatever little story that goes with those objects, and it's it's quite a nice one.
I was really, on a personal level, I was very pleased to see Walter Crane tiles. I love Walter Crane. You don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm going to moan now. They've called him William Crane, and it's Walter Crane. Yeah. Well, they're nice to see. Beautiful to see.
I'll pass on your feedback to the exhibitions team.
I live in trepidation. But there's Geoffrey Key photos, sculptures, paintings.
There is, yeah.
And there's the fall, the concert that never took place, programmes. And I would urge anyone, you don't have to be from Salford, it does help, but go to the Peel Park Museum. It's on free till January, I believe. Fantastic exhibition. But while you're there, you can call in and see this man.
Yeah, come in and see me.
Do you ever get any unusual, funny requests off people?
Like what?
Well, Tony Franklin told me.
Play this song, or?
Yeah. Tony Franklin told me that an American lady came in with her husband.
Yeah, I know the story.
She was looking through the family tree thing, and Donkey Stone got mentioned.
Yeah.
And she was horrified.
Yeah.
She didn't think they were giving it cannabis. She thought they were throwing bricks at it.
Yeah, stoning donkeys. Yeah. No donkeys were harmed during donkey stoning. Yeah. No, I have many. The thing that I like about my job, the reason why I do it is because I like people telling me stories all day long. I mean, people think I spend my time reading books in a library. I wish I had time to even open them and put them on the catalogue to get on the shelf so anyone else can read them. But generally, I don't get a lot of time to read those kind of books. But why I do my job is the stories that people come tell me. It's their family history. It's, you know, their granddad did this and whatnot. And people of Salford sometimes have the greatest stories. And some of them, you know, when you ask that question, some of them that come to mind, I feel like I'm not entirely sure if I can pass them on. Some of the stories you get, you might not, they're not for a public forum, really.
One of my favourite ones, when I was with Neil Richardson, bless him, he was doing research on it'd be like 1978, doing some research on pubs and Marcaddy. He had a pub named after him, didn't he, in the landings.
Yeah.
And this old chap got in touch. He'd be in his 80s, so we were only in our 20s. And he said, oh, my father knew Marcaddy. So he went down to interview him. He went, it was a right lying get. He said, you couldn't go in the canal for a swim without him dragging you out. Chalk it up, Bert. Another one I've rescued. So did that happen, or was he a really hero, or was he just a nuisance, stopping kids swimming?
I can't be here to besmirch the name Marcaddy.
That's my job.
Yeah. So and again, as far as discussing history, as you say, I don't get involved with that. If I can't find any book, if I can't find a book and says Tony Flynn says this about Anchor Park, don't take my word for it.
I won't do. Do you encourage school visitors to the local history library?
Yes, yeah. We do a school session with them. It's one of my favourite things to do, but it does quite often mean we have to close the library for it to get 30 kids in there and get them all around a map and discussing characters. But yeah, it's a great thing because it's...
That's very rewarding, isn't it?
Yeah, because ultimately in the end it's all about... I blush at the word history and go for more heritage. Right. Because ultimately it's not about history. I hated history at school. I hated history lessons. It was all kings and queens and battles and whatnot. Yeah. Whereas local history is heritage. It's what we inherit. And if you've lived here 5 minutes, you've lived here 500. You could trace your family back to Adam. They've always been from Salford. Or if you've been here just 5 minutes, you've now inherited and you're part of the story, as it were. So getting kids involved with that and getting them to question it as well. So we start with a street and we'll look at an area, usually Regent Road, I think's one of them we do, Eccles New Road, Robert Hall Street, I think's another one, so all around here. And we find a character, we find some information about this person, and then we always discuss at the end of it. There's no book on this person. I think one of them is Emma Orrit, who's the nurse at the workhouse. There's no book written about them. You won't find a web page about them. You know, the reason why we're there discussing them is because they've done this bit of research. They're always very quiet.
I think it's fabulous, that. Really.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Getting the kids involved, that's the future, isn't it? Of heritage, shall we say, then, as you call it.
Yeah.
It really is. Do you like Salford? I know it's a silly, loaded question. Do you like Salford people?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a Salfordian. No. I'm a foreigner. I'm from the other side of the river. But generally, it's never been held against me. But yeah, like I say, it's the stories that I get from people here. It's always good fun. Yeah, it keeps me getting up every morning, coming into work.
And paid.
I'm paid. Yeah.
So
there is that.
You've got the opening hours. Now you've started introducing Saturday only selected dates, isn't it?
Yes.
Could you tell us what the opening hours are for the general public? Yeah,
sure. So we're Tuesday to Friday we operate, and we do 9:30 a.m. till 12:15 in the mornings, and then 1 till 4 in the afternoons. And like you say, one in every 4 at the moment. Saturdays is a drop-in, so that's 12 till 4. Yeah, and they're very popular. It's essentially for people who can't get in during the week, you know, because we know people do work, you know, they do need to eat.
I think it's great. I've virtually lived half my life, I think, in that local history library.
I know. I keep trying to get rid of you.
It's worked. So if you want to annoy this man, phone him 0161 788 0814. You'll thank
You've
me
got the
for
phone
that.
number as well.
You'll thank me for that, won't you?
Couldn't give the email address, could you? That's easier. It's hard to show you a map over phone, you see. Yeah. Email me, I can send you stuff.
Just phone him. In fact, phone him. I'll give you his private number later. Phone him at home on Sunday or Christmas, something like that. That'd be okay.
Yeah, like you do.
Yeah, I did actually.
You did.
I'm sorry
Bank
about
holiday.
that. I was panicking. Duncan, the time is getting on. Is there anything you feel we've left out you'd like to discuss? Or?
No, that's it. Just feel free to come to the museum at some point. Salford has a centenary this year, you may have heard. There's a lot going on about it.
Salford 100. How are you getting involved in that? You're getting lots of visitors or more a renewed interest in Salford?
Yeah. Well, we've been supporting a lot of the exhibitions, and there's another exhibition we've used in our photo collection for Odsal Hall opening up as well, where people are selecting 100 photos from our collection. So
Cornerstone are doing one, aren't they, as well?
Yes, yeah.
Popular thing. Right, I think I've run out of things to say to you, Duncan. Thanks ever so much for coming in. And it's
Thanks
been
for having me.
Pleasure having you. Informative, educational, illustrative, and here's the brown envelope.
Fantastic.
Duncan, thanks ever so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, Carl, could we roll the VTR? Here today in the concert room at Salford Lads Club. Basically, it's to promote our talk this Friday, the 10th of April, 7 while 8, and it's called Regent Road Stories. What will I learn, I hear you ask? Well, I'll tell you. You'll be learning about the Fenian bomb outrage at the Regent Road barracks. Regent Road actually had army barracks just after Peterloo they were built. You'll be learning about the King's Cinema, Teddy Boys on the Rampage, razor blade toting violence, all the good stuff. Land Store with its intricate pulley system of payment. Tony Wilson his parents had a shop on Regent Road. There's a nice photo of Tony looking very forlorn and pointing at the empty shop as it awaits demolition. You'll be learning about the Peeping Tom pub. Have you ever heard of Chief Peter Lobengula? He lived in Salford and died in Salford. Fascinating character, absolutely fascinating. Buried in Agecroft Cemetery. I'll be telling you about him and what happened in the Fox Hotel when he went in for a drink. I think you might be able to guess what happened in there actually, but it's a great story. We learn about the Fox Hotel, one of the most notorious pubs in Salford, with even had a live fox, the landlord, believe it or not, that was allowed to walk around the pubs. Ladies of ill repute, seamen from over the world, all the good stuff, that's what we want. The abattoir, Regent Road, Morris's nightmare, there's animals being shepherded to their death. Arsenic beer. Groves and Whitnall's Brewery in 1901 had a consignment of contaminated sugar, a company called Bostock's & Co. from Liverpool. Yeah, we're not to blame. There's fatalities throughout Salford, 1900, 1901. Interestingly enough, there was more women died from the arsenic poisoning than men, which gather is either the weaker constitutions or they were bigger drinkers. You'll find out the history of Regent Road, how it got its name from Prince Regent. I can't give you too much away. And I'd like to stress it's a free event. 7 while 8. Get here earlier because of the bars on. You got Guinness, wine. I think that might be it actually, but yeah, free bar. Not free bar, it's free to get in. Eventbrite are doing the tickets, that's if you've got a guaranteed seat. But if not, just turn up on the night. Hopefully it'll be a great event. And you can boo me, buy me a Guinness if you want, I'd appreciate that. And that's it, 7 o'clock, 10th of April, Salford Lads Club. See you there. Cheers. And we're back in the room. I always want to say that. Right, continuing with the show, the popularity of last week's guest, Mr. Roy Matthews, sat with me. We've asked him to come back and tell us more tales of, we wanted rock and roll debauchery, but he's been a bit polite about it. But we've got so much to talk about. And you're going to help me out here, Roy?
I can't afford the fines, that's why I'm being very polite.
Would it be fair to say that you started your career off at the MEN Arena?
Well, after all the
After
Eccles
the boys, yeah.
business and Bob Williamson, I'd noticed that I'd stopped going to watch live music.
Right.
And I'd just got lazy and couldn't be bothered sort of driving to town or whatever. So I thought, well, if I got a job where I had to be there, then I'd see it. So I got a job at the MEN, and that was early 1999. And after 2 concerts, I think it was Robbie Williams and Neil Diamond, I got a job in the back. And that's when it gets interesting, really.
When you say in the back, what does that entail?
Well, it was all sorts really. No 2 days were ever the same. I mean, we were supposed to be security to stop anybody getting in and seeing the artist. So once the artist was on the premises, then they were under our sort of until we shoved them back out the back gates. But I mean, you used to get asked for all sorts of things, escort people in, bring people in to meet the artist if they've won a radio thing, or the odd a disabled person was brought in to meet artists. I remember a girl in a wheelchair and a mum, I brought them in to meet Robbie Williams. And for about the first 5 minutes she couldn't speak. She was just completely overcome with it. But Robbie went back to his dressing room and got his scarf and hat, and he brought them, put them on her. And it just relaxed her enough to, you know, have a conversation. Oh, I took them back up in the lift and the mum was crying. She said, "You've no idea what this will mean to my daughter." And I said, "No, I probably have. You know, we're all fans, aren't we?
Well,
it doesn't matter whether you meet them or not, you're still a fan." I don't think I ever stopped becoming a fan.
You never overawed by any of them?
Not really, no. And I met most of my musical heroes, but no. I know people, the old cliche is they're just ordinary people, but they're ordinary people with an extraordinary talent. Yeah. And I was always respectful of that, but they are pretty much ordinary people. And I think the last thing they want to talk about, when they're in and they're just, you know, try to relax before doing a show, the last thing they want to talk about is, "Oh, I've got all your albums." And, you know, "Oh, I've loved you, I had all your pictures on me." Well, they don't want any of that. So generally the chat would be anything but music.
Yeah, that's the secret to it.
Yeah, I remember bringing a woman in once. The Osmonds were on. Not my type of music, but they were on. And I went out in the yard. Most of my stories start with a wet in the yard for a cigarette. So I went in the yard for a cigarette, and there was a lady and a daughter, teenage daughter, at the gate. She shouted me over, so I went over. She said, "Are they in yet?" I said, "Yes." I was hoping to see them going in. I said, "Well, hang around, one of them might come out and go to the coach for something." She said, I've followed them right from the very beginning through when they weren't popular, and I've never met any of them." So I went back in and I got Alan Osmond and told him about this lady at the gate, and he said, "Roy, do me a favour, bring them in, put them somewhere and give them a coffee and I'll give you a shout." So I brought them in, and she never questioned why I was bringing her in. I just went to the gate and unlocked it and said, "Come with me." So I put them in this office and gave them a coffee, and I said, "I'll be back." So anyway, eventually he said to me, "Right, Roy, go and get them and bring them in my room." So I took them over and we got to his room with Alan Osmond on the door. And I opened the door and said, "Go in," and he'd got all the band in there waiting for them. So they went in, I shut the door. A couple of minutes later, she came out in tears and said, "I can't do it." She left her poor daughter in there. She said, "I can't do it." I said, "Look, it's probably the only chance you're ever going to get, and you'll regret it if you don't. So just sort of deep breaths, go back in." And she was in for about half an hour. I had photos taken with them all, they signed things for her, and then I ushered her out of the gate again. She just said that this is life-changing for me. And I understand that it's life-changing for them. So whenever I could do anything like that, I generally tried to. So I got a few people to meet their heroes, and I met mine.
Royal Fix-It.
Royal Fix-It, oh. Whether I want that association. Well, Paul McCartney's probably top of the list. I'm a Beatle fan. Apart from the fact I've got a Bowie t-shirt on, but I've been a massive Beatle fan all my life. But I'd met McCartney before, but he did 2 shows in 2003, and he was really good with me. I think he recognised me because I've been a bit of a pest in the past, I think. And I think one night, he sings on the way to the stage, and I think the first night he was singing, him and the band as they walk into the stage, and he's got a cup of tea, and they just sing to sort of warm the voices up. And I think the first night they were singing Hey Jude, and then the second night, on his way towards me, they were singing Hey Hey with the Monkeys. And as he got to me, he just punched me on the chin and smiled and carried on. And I thought, well, look, if I'm going to be punched by anybody,
McCartney.
I'm quite happy for it to be him. But at the end of the 2 shows, after he'd gone, because he does an Elvis, he's straight on the coach and gone. His security guy, Brian, shouted me into the office and said, Roy Paul's asked me to give you these. And he gave me a denim jacket with his name embroidered on the back, a baseball shirt, and a collection of all the tour passes.
Wow.
So there you go. And I'm also offering you an invite to any show you ever want to come to, which was nice.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
Glad you didn't punch him back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I could have tripped him. I think I could have taken him actually. But, so I tried it. He was on in Liverpool a couple of months after, and I thought, well, let's see whether he's true to his word. And I turned up at the back gate and asked for him. Oh, just come in, it's a pass, go where you want, do what you want, don't mind the Paul.
Fair enough.
That's where I'm not going to, am I?
No.
So he was true to his word.
You mentioned Bowie then, Black Star. You've met Bowie, assume.
He's getting better at these leads, isn't he? Yeah, once, briefly. Bowie was on at the arena, and I remember him arriving in the afternoon on the coach with the other band members. Very played down, jeans on, puffer jacket, all smiles, said hello to everybody. And then a bit later on, I got a thing on the radio, Roy, can you go to the gate? There's somebody you need to bring in. When I got to the gate, it was Debbie Harry, and she'd come to say hello to David. So I took her to his dressing room. And at the end of the night, well, 2 really nice things, really. One, Bowie found, and I'd been told he did it, but I didn't really believe it because I'd never seen anybody do it before. He found everybody that worked in the back and shook the hand and said thank you, which was really nice for somebody of his stature. And then I had to get a taxi for Debbie Harry, and when it was ready, I went and got her and said, your cab's here. So we walked to the gate and she gave me a kiss.
Where was she going? Hotel?
Oh, I have no idea. I was too overcome with the kiss to be bothered. But it was nice because I'd seen her before. We'd had Blondie on there, and I helped her to carry a suitcase on the coach at the end of the night.
She was just a fan then, was she? Debbie Harris, she'd just come to see.
Well, she'd just come to say hello to David because she knew him.
Right.
So she'd popped in for a chat. I think they might have been playing at the Apollo the following night. So because she was in Manchester,
Superb, yeah.
she saw he was on. So I'd helped her onto the coach with a suitcase. And bearing in mind I was a teenager with Debbie Harry on my wall. So I carried the thing onto the coach and she said, right, thanks Roy, I'm going to bed now. And I thought, well, there are words I never thought I'd hear her say. Unfortunately, she was going on her own. But
what are you doing?
You can't let your dreams go too far, can you?
No, no.
So what's the next
Live
link?
Aid.
I've got a denim jacket on.
Yeah.
And
the one Paul
somebody
McCartney
wore.
gave you.
Yeah. Live Aid.
Yeah.
Well, not Live Aid, Live
Live
Aid.
Aid. Mm.
I actually went to Live Aid. I was in the audience at Live Aid.
Was Live Aid in Hyde Park?
Hyde Park, 20th anniversary of Live Aid.
Right.
And I think along this, was it something to do with the G8 this time, I think? They were trying to put pressure on the G8 for something. Yeah, so I did rehearsal day and the main day, both of which were absolutely crazy. I think I was on Hyde Park for 16 hours on rehearsal day and 18 hours on gig day. And I mentioned to a few people that as I wandered around the back, I was the only famous person. I was the only person I didn't know. Because
right.
Everybody you bumped into, everywhere you looked at, it was just another name. Brad Pitt, the Beckhams, and I think the guy who owns Apple was there. And you were just surrounded by famous people. And there were loads of artists on, so they were all around as well. It was the reunion of Pink Floyd. And I took Roger Waters out on the park on rehearsal days to have a look at the stage. He said, am I all right to go on the park? I thought, I can't stop you. So I said, I'll come with you. And he said, I just want to see the setup from out front. So we were on the park for about 5 minutes, and then there were other people on the park working and setting stalls up, and people started noticing it was him. Yeah. And I said, it's probably time for us to go back in now. But McCartney was on at Live Aid, and Madonna,
The Who were on, weren't they?
The Who were on, yeah. There were tons, Stereophonics.
Did Clapton play that one?
Sting. No, Clapton didn't do it for some reason. I'd never thought
Quite
about
a
it.
stellar lineup.
Elton John was on. Elton John did a duet with Pete Doherty out of...
Ruby Shambles.
They did Children of the Revolution. Completely massacred it. Doherty was off his head completely. Had to be sort of driven on a little buggy to the stage and then driven off again.
Rockstar.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of rock star shenanigans that day, really.
Was Peter Kay on that one?
Peter Kay was on. Yes, he brought the Who on. Tried to get the crowd doing Is This the Way to Amarillo, but they didn't really want to do it. Snoop Dogg was on. Oh, George Michael was on. And I remember George Michael was walking around this corner and there was a hedge. And he walked right into Snoop Dogg with these huge black American guys, and they threw George Michael in the hedge just to get him out of the way. He probably didn't even look who he was. Just threw him that way. Yes, and he was good. He got up with McCartney, George Michael. And it was a great atmosphere all day. Incredible atmosphere, especially when Floyd went on, because a lot of people there were there to see Floyd again.
Who closed the show?
McCartney. He opened it with U2 doing Sgt. Pepper because it's 20 years ago today. Yeah. And then he closed it with his own set. So I watched that. I didn't watch a lot of the artists because I was busy in the back, running around doing all sorts. But I watched Floyd and I watched McCartney. I thought it's time to turn that radio off and not come all this way for nothing. So it was nice. And U2 were good. I'd come from U2 at Cardiff. I'd done 3 shows with U2 at Twickenham, Manchester, and then Cardiff. And we drove straight from Cardiff to Hyde Park. And when U2 turned up and they got off the coach, Bono said, "Are you following me?" And I said, "Well, who's here first?"
Yeah.
So they were okay. I didn't have a great opinion of Bono until those 3 dates, and he actually turned out all right.
It's a lot smaller, isn't it, than I've seen. Well, let's skip that one, shall we?
Yeah, and I was told when we did Twickenham, the security men said, "You must make sure nobody at all gets in this back because they do have a tendency to walk about naked." And I thought, "Crap, I've not even had my dinner yet." Anyway, fortunately it didn't happen. And sometimes people will just randomly come up and talk to you. The drummer, is it Larry, out of U2? Yeah. He just came and sat down on the floor next to me and seemed to just want to pass the time.
Well, you, I suppose, aren't they?
Yeah, well, as we say, they are. Debbie Harry just wanted to pass the time, walking around with curlers in.
You must have met some right oddballs, and you can't speak about, can you? Too polite.
Well,
Rude
I'll be
ones.
honest, in our room in the back, we had a list on the back of the door of people we didn't like. I don't know whether I can go through the list.
Can you tell?
Well,
you can.
I could probably tell you who's on it, I just can't tell you why we didn't like them. I mean, Elton John was top of the list. He'd be top of every list I ever made of people I don't like. Just baby, isn't he? Just spoilt little baby. Who'd just have a tantrum at anything. In the afternoon we were told to not make a noise on the corridor because if you wake him up he'll go mad. I thought,
a power nap.
I'm really not bothered whether he goes mad or not. So I didn't like him, but there were a few other reasons why I didn't like him that we can't go into. Who else was on the list? The singer out of the Fugees was on the list.
Oh, what was her name? Yeah.
Lauryn Hill.
Lauryn Hill, yeah. Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
She asked for an all-black crew in the back that night. And the arena refused and said, "Look, we have people who do it every night and we're not changing them for one night." So that put me off. I didn't bother speaking to her.
A bit precious, that, isn't it? A bit precious.
But you never knew who was going to walk up, because I remember the Lauryn Hill night and I'd lost interest. I just wanted to get it over with and go home. So I sat down, and I rarely sat down because I was always sort of doing something. And I sat down and I just became aware of this large sort of shadow looming over me. I looked up and it was Lennox Lewis.
Right.
So I shook this huge hand. My hand just disappeared into it. And he said, "I've come to see Lauryn Hill." So I took him in to see her. So it was great because you didn't know who was going to walk down the corridor next. I remember Noddy Holder walking up one night. They never played at the arena, but I just thought,
He seems a genuinely nice fella, doesn't he, though, Noddy Holder?
yeah. Well,
Interviews
actually,
and things, same with
a
him.
couple of years ago, I was going through a load of stuff at home records mainly, because I got rid of all my vinyl completely. And I found this old flexi disc of Slade's that they used to give away in the 70s on the front cover of various music magazines. So it was a flexi disc of theirs. And I thought, and it was still in really good condition because I'd never played it. And I just thought, they're probably quite rare, these. So I wondered whether Noddy had got a copy.
Right.
So I messaged his wife and I said, I've found this record. Has Noddy got a copy? And she said, no, we know of it, but he hasn't got a copy. So I said, well, look, if you give me your address, I'll book it in the post. And she must have been relaying my messages to him. And she said, oh, Noddy said, if you put your address in with it, he'll send you a signed photo. And I just said, I don't want a signed photo. I just wanted to find a good home for the record. So it's in Noddy's collection somewhere now, which is nice.
I remember talking to you a while back, and you were telling me that you had a bit of an affiliation with Status Quo.
Oh, I toured with Quo for 11 dates, and I was a massive Quo fan. I'd seen them loads of times. And I got a phone call off their tour manager and just said, we're doing a book signing tour. They'd got a new biography out called, I think it was probably the third they'd had out. Every time a publisher offered them a reasonable deal, they'd write another book.
I just remembered something else.
So they'd got, I think it was called Access All Areas. And he said, we've done one book signing at the Trafford Centre and it went horribly wrong.
Right.
And we've got 11 to do. Will you come on the tour and organise the book signings and look after Rick and Francis? So I joined them in Nottingham, I think was the first one. And I'd done a couple of their gigs before, so I sort of was on nodding terms. And I met them at Nottingham. And they pulled up out at the back of the bookshop and started getting out of the car. And immediately a traffic warden came over and said, you can't park there, lads. No, I don't think he knew they were. So I cleared him off, took them inside, and immediately Rick said, where can I have a smoke? So we had to go out on the fire balcony to have a cigarette. And there's people in offices opening the windows and shouting and waving to him. So he said, in future, if you can find us a room to have a cigarette before I arrive. So, and it was no smoking inside then, the smoking ban was on. But every shop found us a room to have a cigarette. So that was good. So he used to call me his partner. He'd say, let's go and have a cigarette, partner. Or give me a piece of the band chewing gum, as my chewing gum was referred to. And I got on really well with Rick. He was sort of my favourite. And I wanted to try and scratch the surface and see what was under that rock and roll thing, because he swallowed the whole rock and roll thing.
Yeah.
And
I think it's cocaine, the word, isn't it?
he swallowed a lot of things and sniffed a lot of things, and cocaine was one of them. Fortunately, they'd both stopped by that tour because it was 2005, same year as Live Aid. Although we had a couple of nights when we'd been drinking. If it was a day off, Rick really didn't know what to do on a day off, so he'd drink. And he'd get absolutely paralytic. And I remember putting him to bed one night. We were in a hotel somewhere, and it was Portsmouth, I think. And we'd had a few days off, so I'd been home, and I'd got back, and I walked into the hotel at tea time, and I could hear a bit of a rumpus at the desk. And as I got closer, I could see it was Rick, and the tour manager was there. And he wasn't arguing with anybody, he was just loud. And he turned around and saw me and flung his arms around me and said, "Roy, let's go for a beer." And I said, "Let's go for a curry." And I said, "I've just eaten, just had fish and chips on the way here." So he said, "Well, where are you going?" So I'm going to check in, and I'm going up to my room. And then later there was a VIP room at the top, and I said, "I'm going to go up and watch football. I'll see you in there." I thought, well, he's far too drunk. So I'd sat down in this room, just started watching football, one sip of my beer, and then he came. And he came over, sat down, went to sit down, missed the chair completely, And there were quite a few businessmen in there, and they're all looking over. And he got up and said, I meant to do that. Get me a double vodka. And we stayed for about an hour, and he just got drunker and drunker. But we had a really nice talk about music. And he was telling me he thought there were only ever 2 bands, the Stones and the Beatles, he said, and then everybody else was down there. And then I put him to bed. And we'd got a book signing the next morning at 10 o'clock. So I went ahead, I was at the book sign, I got a phone call, we're 5 minutes away, right, okay. And I thought, I wonder what state he's in. And the car pulled up, opened the door, got out, and he was as fresh as a daisy. And we got in the lift, and he said, was I all right last night? I said, yeah, fine. And I thought, it's not just sleep that's got you that fresh, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But they were great, it was a really enjoyable tour.
Did you like Status Quo, you say?
I loved them, yeah.
I remember buying their early LPs, Mark Kelly's Greasy Spoon,
Yeah,
and Dog
I was
with
buying them right from pictures of Matchstick Men.
Dog with Two Heads.
And I never told them I was a fan.
No.
Because I thought it would ruin the professional
relationship,
relationship, which was probably ruined once we were drunk anyway. But he used to tell me things about things that had happened in the past, and I never once said, Rick, I know. I probably know your story better than you do.
He's still touring, isn't he?
Well, Rick died, sadly, about 8 years ago. Francis is touring out on his own, on just a songs and stories tour, which is a lot less costly to put on the road, and it's smaller venues, so it's more intimate, and I think he likes it. Quo won't play again, they've sold all their instruments, they've sold all their equipment and everything. He just never actually announced that they've stopped, because they did it once before. Do you remember when they'd retired before Live Aid,
they had a comeback,
and then they got back for Live Aid and then carried on again? I think he always regretted carrying on. So he didn't want to be Sinatra and keep saying, you know, this is my retirement tour,
of course,
and I'll see you again in another 12 months.
I've got to ask you, Rolling Stones, what was your, with them, relationship?
I did 2 gigs with the Rolling Stones. I did the Arena and Twickenham. They're a funny one because you see these figures walk in and walking towards you that you've grown up with. They're so familiar, and it's just like a caricature of the Rolling Stones walking towards you. Jagger doesn't speak, not a word, but Keith Richards did. And when we did Twickenham, Ronnie Wood came out and had a fag with me, and we had a bit of a chinwag. And then Charlie came out just because he looked bored. And there was one of those dressing room trailers that they have on film sets, really nice one. And he said to me, is that yours? I said, no. I said, it's for Jagger. Apparently he's booked it just in case he wants to use it. And he said, oh, that makes sense, so we're all paying for it. And then he said, have you had any lunch? And I said, no, not yet. He said, I'll get you some lunch. So we went inside. And a few minutes later, this girl from catering came. I just hadn't been ready for lunch yet, otherwise I'd have been for it. This girl from catering came out with this massive big fish platter, and I hate fish. And it had prawns and crab and all sorts on it, and handed it to me and said, Charlie's asked me to bring you this. So I said, thanks. So she went, and I'm looking around for a bin. And he came out again and said, oh, good, you've got it. And I said, oh, yeah, thanks.
I'm loving it.
And then he stood talking to me, and I thought, I may end up having to eat some of this. Anyway, fortunately, he went back in and I found a bin and threw it away, but I thought it was a really nice gesture. And I hadn't, until that tour, I'd never got Charlie. Even though I've watched millions of Stones videos and concerts, I never got him, but I got his sense of humour on that tour. And when I re-watch old Stones things now, I see him differently. He makes me laugh, because he wasn't too serious, was he? I don't think he swallowed the whole
rock and roll
rock
myth.
thing.
No, he was a
jazz
musician, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I think he kept that with him.
And he had greyhounds, which I also liked about him, because we had a greyhound. Yeah, so that was the Stones. But they did that show. They did 2 sets. They did the main stage, and then at the back of the arena, they had what they called the B stage, and it was just in the round. It was like a little round boxing ring. So we had to run them from the main stage down the backstage corridor and get them onto that B stage. And they'd do a little rock and roll set, and then we'd have to get them off and run them back. That was interesting.
Very well.
It's not too difficult getting them on, because you're taking people by surprise, and the audience say, oh, you're through.
Get out of the way.
But once you've got to get them back, everybody knows they're coming back. Actually, I had a tale with Parfit like that. They played at Alton Towers. BT used to book Alton Towers for the weekend, and all employees with over 25 years service got a free weekend, stayed in the hotel, and they put a big concert on. And they had loads on. They had Madness, Quo, the Human League. There was a good bill for both days, and Quo did these two. So the only way to, when the band arrived, the only way to get them through to the backstage bit was you had to walk through a restaurant. That was full of people. So they got off the coach, and I said, right, we've got to go through this restaurant, so just get in a line behind me and just stay with me. And by the time people realise you're walking through, we'll be out the other door fine. So we set off, and the tour managers were with them as well. We set off, and halfway through I looked round, and Rick's talking to some people on the table over there. And he wandered round and said hello to a few people, and the tour manager said, there's always one.
Leave him to it.
But he liked people. No, he'd always come out and talk to people at the back. We walked down, we did the book signing in Brighton, and in the afternoon when we came out of the bookshop, he said, oh, what a fag, Roy, should we walk to the venue? So Francis went in the car and me and Rick walked, and it was Saturday afternoon in Brighton, packed, and we're walking down the pavement, all these people looking at him, shouting things. And as we turned the corner to the back of the venue, there was some women outside the back gate. And he said, oh, here they are. He said, watch the one in his, I think, the red top. And as we got near, she flung her arms around him and clung on. Because they knew them all by names, because there were a certain group of people who went to every single show on every tour, stayed in the same hotels.
Fanatics.
Do you book the holiday? Because I used to talk to them in the hotel, and they said, yeah, we book our holidays. As soon as their tour comes out, we book our holidays. And we're off, say goodbye to our husband, and off they go.
Oh, well, happy married.
So
Bob
in
Dylan.
case we're
Bob
getting,
Dylan.
well, I knew you'd want me
about.
to tell Dylan, but I need to get the hooky story in case we run out of time.
We've got 8 minutes.
Right.
Tell us hooky.
Right, well, it was Top of the Pops. Top of the Pops Awards, first time the BBC had ever done it, and they decided to do it at the arena. And they were giving awards to McCartney, who was getting a Lifetime Achievement Award, and there was Tom Jones and Jennifer Lopez and I think Westlife, Travis, there were loads of people on. So I'll make it short, because, but hooky. So in the afternoon, the guy who the BBC had got in to generally overlook the whole thing was called Barry Knight. And he said to me in the afternoon, will you do me a favour tonight? Will you meet the artists getting out of the cars at the gate and send them up the red carpet? He said, I've got 2 lists. I've got an A list and a B list. The A list comes up the red carpet, and the B list, send them a little further down and send them through the little gate. So I said, right, okay. So some of the artists were already in the venue and been in all afternoon, so they'd come out of the side door, get in a car, drive around the corner and pretend they've just arrived and come in, Tom Jones. And so I'm looking at the list, and on the A list it had Bernard Sumner from
New Order.
But on the B list it had Peter Hook. And I thought,
Why is he on the B
well,
list?
that's a bit unfair. Either send both up or none. So I swapped Peter Hook's name and put him on the A list. And I put on the B list quite a famous talent show. I'm not going to say his name, but we all know the guy with high-waisted trousers. Well, I sent him to the B gate. So when his car pulled up and the window wound down, and I said to his driver, can you just drive about another 30 yards down there, mate, and there's a little gate, press the buzzer and they'll let you in. I could see Cowell's face because he's looking at the red carpet and all the... Oh, God, yeah. So I swapped, and Peter doesn't know that, even though I had a cigarette with him later on in the dressing room. He was asking me for a light, and he said, come in and have a fag. So I had a fag. And I thought, I won't tell him, because it's an insult, really, to be shoved on there. But I put it right. So in case he ever watches us, he knows now.
Peter, get this man a drink. getting more than a drink. I'll tell you what you can do. You've kept this quiet. Your CD, rave. Proceed,
Everybody calls rave, and it's not called rave.
Well, your proceeds are going, part of them.
50% of the proceeds are going to Carrington Animal Rescue, which is a rescue for mainly cats, but there's the odd rabbit and hamster and things. But it's fairly near me, Carrington, because I live in Urmston. And I've supported them for about 5 years and put fundraisers on and things, because I'm an animal lover and they do such a great job. Right. And I call in quite often. In fact, I'll probably be going in tomorrow because I've got some money for her. And the girl that runs the whole thing, Nicole, is a friend of mine. And she's a mum with 2 young kids, one only born in March. And yet the hours she puts into it. And if she gets a call at 3 in the morning, there's 3 cats under a hedge in Withenshaw, she's off. And she'll be there until those 3 cats are safe and on the way to the rescue.
Can people go out and collect a cat, if you know what I mean? Can you adopt a cat?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what it's all about, adopting cats, yeah. So the turnover is, constant, and sometimes they fall and they have to say we can't take any more in at the moment. I don't know what the state of play is at the moment. But yeah, they used to be called Changing Lives at Carrington, but I think there's been a name change really recently to Carrington Animal Rescue, because they've grown a little bit and they've now got charity status, so they'll be applying for various grants to try and grow a bit more. And it's on a farm, so there's room.
That's really good of you, that, isn't it?
Well, I'm an animal lover, and I see somebody else's dedication like hers. And we've talked about it, and I always say it's a curse really, because you can't turn one away.
No, I should imagine.
But yeah, I'll support it as long as it's going. I put fundraisers on and a couple of festivals and things. And
was it Eric Fest?
No, Eric Fest raises money for Andy's Man's Club.
Yeah, I knew that.
And it was started a couple of years ago when a friend of mine lost a friend called Eric to suicide, and she decided to start these Eric Fests. The first one was on Eccles Precinct. Do you remember?
I remember Eric as well, actually.
Dear, I didn't know Eric.
Biker, yeah.
But I supported the night. Well, and he was a musician.
That's right.
So I'm surprised I didn't know him, or I don't recognise his face. I may have come across him. So I went to the first one, and I helped a little bit because Aziz played, and he turned up with quite a lot of gear, and she was worried about where to put him, and so I helped a little bit with that. And the next one is at the Garrick near Trafford General in September, and Aziz is playing again, and some other bands.
What, so you got a date for it?
Yeah, but I can't remember, but
September?
But it's definitely September, yeah, because I've put money towards a few things for it. And had a go on the football card last week, and I had a tenner's worth and thought I'm bound to win the 50 quid, and I didn't. But I'll support anything like that.
That's really
But we've had fundraisers for the Christie, Matt Millen did a fundraiser for the Evening News appeal when we had the arena bomb. And people come to me if they're putting something on in Urmston.
You're the go-to man.
People will say, well, that's who you should see. Did a couple of festivals on Davyhune Golf Course, which was nice. On the 6th tee, we had the stage, because they approached me and said, we want to do a festival, fun, because everybody's hard up. And she said, we're going to put the stage on the 6th tee, and then, So I went and had a look, and I said, yeah, I think I could do it. She said, well, we've got 4 weeks. Well, I still think I can do it. So we did it, and then I did the following year, and then I said, I'll leave it to you now. We've set it in motion. Yeah. I got asked to do one at Withington Golf Club this year, but I'm sort of not doing them anymore, I don't think.
Slowing down?
I think so. They take a lot of time, and they can be quite stressful, and if the weather's not with you, and then equipment breaks down and somebody doesn't turn up.
It's your fault.
And you just think, do I really want to carry that around with me for a few months?
No.
So I turned that down. I used to run the backstage at Oktoberfest, which was an Urmston thing. And that raised money they picked one person or family each year, I raise money for them. And I think one year we did it for a young girl who was training for the Paralympics, and she needed to go abroad to get used to the climate. So they needed 13 grand, I think. So we managed to raise the 13 grand for her. And unfortunately, Oktoberfest has stopped now. I think the guy who ran it started feeling like I did.
Jaded.
The stress.
Yeah, worded out. Roy, I'm not being rude. We've just overrun our time. We've not had time to talk about Oasis,
Oh, I never told you about
Clapton, McCartney, Chrissy Young. Do you know?
I'll come back sometime.
Come back, please. Please come back.
Absolutely will do. Let's
Okay.
get through that
We'll,
list.
we'll get through this list. Right, as I say, time has beaten us.
And thank you.
No, thank you, Roy.
And no drilling this week.
No, not where they were told about that. So please tune in next week. To be honest with you, we've got Roy, I think. No, there's another chap coming on. He promised me, I'm not going to tell you his name. But keep tuning in, and thanks for attending.
You're very welcome.
And don't forget Friday, Regent Road Stories.
Yeah, don't forget
Don't-
Friday. Regent Road Stories.
It's free. Socialism rules.
And there's a bar.
And there's a bar, Guinness. So that's it. Thank you. Goodbye, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.